Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to take a look at a puzzle called Oddly Even Arrows by Kane Puzzles. Now I'm assured this one is genuinely approachable today. I did ask the testers for something genuinely approachable because I had my booster jab for COVID this morning. So I was worried I was going to feel poorly today, but I actually feel okay. And that's good for another reason, because that means that I'm very happy to be live streaming with Mark this evening. We're going to be attempting a game called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. We'd love to have your company for that. Apparently it's quite an amusing game. We've not played it before, and it's 10 o'clock UK time, so hopefully we'll see some of you there. Now, before I read you the rules of this one, the only other thing I wanted to mention is something that's huge that's happening tomorrow, which is over on Patreon. Just to say thank you to those of you who've supported us on the channel over there. We have the Pyramid Puzzle Hunt coming up. Now this is an extraordinary thing. It really is. It's I'm not going to tell you how many puzzles there are in it, but I will tell you it took Mark and I, well, probably, it must have been something like 2 weeks to solve. It was really, really involved, beautiful puzzles from Peter Venus, Panthera and Spartacus, and you will have a great deal of fun if you give it a go. So thank you so much to those of you who support us on Patreon. It's a couple of bucks a month if you don't support us and you'd like to. And as I say, 4 p.m. tomorrow, that's when this puzzle hunt goes live, and I will definitely be reading out the names of anybody who sends us a salute. Well, I'll read out the first 5 people who send us correct solutions for sure, and we'll also give a prize, but I don't know what that will be yet. And if anybody sends this in on Sunday, or let alone Saturday, if anyone sends it in on Saturday or Sunday, I will eat my proverbial hat. And yeah, so please don't do that. You will depress this middle-aged man mightily. Anyway, let's get on with Oddly Even Arrows. Did I say it was by Kane Puzzles? I hope I did. I can't remember whether I said that or not. I should have done. Sorry for interrupting myself, but I forgot that I'd read yesterday in one of the comments on the video that it's the birthday of Daphne and Lee today, and I think they watch the channel quite regularly. Ella Enchanted, thanks for letting me know, and Lee and Daphne, I hope you have a brilliant birthday. All right, back to myself. And yeah, apparently this came in very recently as well, so Mark and the testers tell me I should be in for a bit of joy. Let's hope that's true. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Cells with opaque grey circles must contain odd digits. So grey circles are odd. That's sort of a usual convention. Cells with opaque grey squares must contain even digits. So we've got a whole load of even digits as well. And digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So we've got normal arrow rules. So that means these 2 squares, for example, let's imagine this square was a 3 and this square was a 4. 3 plus 4 equals, no, not 8, 7. So this is how this arrow could work. So basically add up the cells on the arrow, plonk it in the circle, and we're good to go. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I have to say, my first instinct here is that this must be a colouring puzzle. I never get given this number of even digits at the start unless it's a colouring puzzle. Are we going to colour? Of course we are. Of course we are. What am I meant to do? O is for odd and O is for orange. So even digits, I think, are becoming blue, because blue and orange are the best for colourblind friendliness. So we'll do something like that immediately. And what I suppose we're looking for here, or what I'm looking for, is probably 4 even digits. So if I can lock the 4th even digit into column 1, I will know immediately that the whole of the rest of the column has to be odd. And that's because there are only 4 even digits between the numbers 1 and 9 inclusive. 2, 4, 6 and 8. Now the other thing I'm just wondering about, although it doesn't look very promising, are the arrows. Yeah, okay. I think all of the arrows, with the exception of this arrow down here are just 2-cell arrows, and 2-cell arrows are notoriously unreliable. And even this one's not very good, because this isn't the normal 3-cell arrow where, you know, these 3 digits all have to be different. These 3 digits do not all have to be different, and that means you could do something as minimal as, you know, putting, I don't know, 1, 2, 1 on this arrow, for example, and make it add up to 4. So really we know very little about these circles, I feel. Now, okay, so what do we know about arrows from a parity perspective? I know one thing. I will impart one piece of knowledge for you. So here is a knowledge bomb. Any arrow, well, any Sudoku arrow, if you add up all the digits on the arrow and the circle, you always get to an even total. And you can prove that very easily with very simple algebra by just thinking about the rules of what an arrow is. An arrow, these 2 digits, let's say they add up to x, then we know that these 3 digits are x for these 2 digits. Now we know they add up to x, and we have to put x into this cell, therefore. So the whole arrow will add up to 2x, well, the whole arrow including the circle. And 2x is, of course, an even digit. Any even digit can be expressed as a multiple of 2. Now, is that enough? So can I use the secret is what I'm thinking. Now the secret is something I only tell my favourite people on Fridays, it turns out. And that is that any complete box of a Sudoku, if you fill it in correctly, and actually any complete row or column of a Sudoku will, because of the rules of Sudoku, contain the digits 1 to 9. And the digits 1 to 9 add up to 45. So this whole box adds to 45. Now 45 is an odd number. Now if I know that this arrow and its circle add up to an even number, and I do, and I know that those 3 cells are even, these 6 cells together are even. And that means those 3 digits must, in order to get to the number 45, an odd number, these 3 digits must add up to an odd number. But the problem with an odd number in 3 cells is that all we now know is that there are an odd number of odd numbers in this 3-cell string. It could be 3 odd numbers, they would add to an odd number, or 1 odd number and 2 evens, and that would add to an odd number. So we don't know what those 3 cells are, and that's very annoying. How do we do this then? If this was one, oh no, hang on, I'm not using the fact I've already got 3 evens in the box, Simon, are you? No, I can't have 2 evens on there, that will not work. That's the point, isn't it? If these add up to an odd number, they can't be 1 odd and 2 evens, because then there are going to be 5 evens in the box, and that won't work. Right, so we have got a break in. These must all be odd. And this arrow must be 1 even and 2 odds. Oh, okay, I was hoping I was going to be able to place them, but I can't. You could have the even here and 2 odds adding to the even, or you could have an odd here, and an odd and an even would add to an odd number. But okay, so now we've got Sudoku going on. We've got Sudoku involving oranges, not numbers, but oranges. Where do these 3 orange digits go in this box? Well, the answer is not in those 3 squares by Sudoku, not in the even squares, because an odd number is not the same as an even number, and you can't put 3 odd digits on this arrow, because then you'll be, if these 2 are both odd, that would need to be even. But if this is 3 odd numbers, it couldn't be. So that doesn't work. You cannot put these 3 digits into here. And that means that digit there must be one of these 3 digits. And that means that right, so that means there's exactly one even digit in this string, because we can put 2 odd digits only. So there's one. Oh, this, yeah, okay, this is beautiful. This is enough, isn't it? So if we can only put 2 of these digits on this arrow, and we can, that's all we can put on, then there's 1 even digit in this threesome, which added to those 2 even digits means that these cells altogether, these 6 cells, contain 3 even digits. Now that means these 3 cells must contain only 1 even digit and 2 odd digits. But that means this column, by the time we get down to this cell, has seen all 5 of its odd digits, because this string here is 2 odd digits and 1 even, which means those cells have got to be even, which means that do we know what this one is now? Can we avoid there being an even digit in all 3 of those? If these were 3 odds, that would have to be another odd, and that would actually work. Okay. No, I don't quite see how to do that. So what does it mean if both of these circles are even? That means those 2 squares are either 2 odds or 2 evens. And the same is true for these 2 squares. Now, if these were 2 evens, you'd have done all the evens. Yeah, that is beautiful. In fact, it's the same as this. It doesn't work again. If you do 2 evens here, this arrow doesn't work anymore, because you can't put 3 odd numbers onto a 2-cell arrow. That's not something I'd ever thought about before, but it does seem to be just a truth, isn't it? It's just one of those things that is true. Once you think about it, you realise it's true, but until you think about it, it wasn't solid in your mind. But yeah, I think it's true to say any 2-cell arrow must always have an even digit on it, or it must either have 1 even digit or 3 even digits. Now that's weird. It can't have 2 even digits. If you try and put 2 even digits in, you just can't make the parity work because of the summing. So it's either 3 even digits or 1 even digit. Well, okay. The fact that it's got to be a positive number of even digits means that they cannot both be even, and therefore they must both be odd, because we know they sum to an even digit. This is rather lovely, actually. I like this very much so far. So I know that, right, so I know this isn't 3 even digits. Again, that would put 5 even digits in the box. It's 1 even digit. So that means there's 1 even digit in one of those 2 squares. Another one here, so that's 2 even digits. This could be a 3rd. We've got another 2-cell arrow up here. 1. Yes, okay, so to use this fact that we've just learned, we can now use it on this arrow, can't we? This arrow, we know, has 1 or 3 even digits on it. Well, I know it's not 3 even digits, because if it was, I couldn't put an even digit into one of those 2 squares, where I know that there is an even digit. So it's exactly 1 even digit on this arrow. So 1, 2, 2 even digits here in this string of 3, and that's all the even digits for box 8, which means those 2 squares must be odd. Good grief, which means that one is even. Oh, this is magnificent. This is absolutely magnificent. Now look at the odd cells in box 8, and note that they all have a quality, and the quality is rather important. They are all on an arrow, so none of them can be 9. So those have got to be 1, 3, 5, and 7. 1, 3, 5, and 7 adding up to 16. Yeah, right. Okay, so what even digits are we putting into these 2 circles? And the answer is they have to both be 8. Because if they weren't both 8, let's say we tried to make one of them a 6, that's fine for this one. That one can be 6 all you like. But that one now has a big problem because it has to be a double-digit number, and it can't be. So actually I think we have to go double 8. Which means there's an 8 over here. And now, can we avail ourselves of Sudoku or maybe not Sudoku, more Parity. This can't be double even, because then I'd have 5 even digits in row 8. So that's got to be double odd. Right, and that's now different from this. Okay, this is very clever again. What is the nature of this domino? Well, this domino, whatever it is, so it's either, well, let's actually look at the options. It's either 1, 7 or it's 3, 5 in order to get to 8. Now, let's imagine it was 1, 7 for a moment. Actually, let's put it in. Let's say it was 1, 7 like this. What's this now? Well, this has to be a 3, 5 pair now. It cannot be a 1, 7 pair. But if that's a 3, 5 pair, that's a 1, 7 pair. So whatever this is, transposes down here. So this domino and this domino contain the same digits. Don't know if I can mark that up somehow. Maybe with, I don't really like grey, maybe purple. Oh, that's horrible as well. Green. Yeah, I can see the green. So, by Sudoku, you've got to put 2 odd digits into these 3 cells, and this is even. So they've got to go there. And what do they add up to? They add up to 8. We don't know what they are yet, but we do know they add up to 8, which means that square's a 9 and that square's a 1, because that's the only way we can now make the 3-cell arrow work. And that means, yeah, this is really cool. It's really nothing very difficult, but it's all incredibly elegant and satisfying. Where does 9 go in this box? And the answer is I don't know, but I do know something. It's not in those squares by Sudoku. It can never go on a 2-cell arrow because this can't be a double-digit number. So it's got to be in that domino, and then by Sudoku you've got to put 9 in the corner because it can't be 9 is not even. Now, where does 1 go in box 1? It's got to go on that arrow because it can't go in the even cell. So that's a 1, 8 pair. 8 now. Oh, nearly. Oh, no, actually 8 is interesting. I was going to say we didn't know where 8 went in those 3 cells, but actually we do, because we can't put 8 in the arrow, or this square would have to be a 9, and it can't be. So the 8 goes there. Whoops, the 8 goes here. And now we can, what can we do now? We can, do we know, no, you can repeat digits on arrows, so we don't know that this is not 1, 7. This cell, oh, this cell can't be 8 or 9 now. So, no, I don't think that seems very restricted. Right, what do we look at next? What about this arrow? This arrow must contain at least, well, it contains exactly 1 blue cell, because it can't contain 3, and we've worked out that there must be a blue cell, at least 1 blue cell, on every 2-cell arrow. So there's 1 here, 2 here. That means in this string of digits there is exactly 1 even. Don't have a very good way of pencil marking that though. So in this string there are 2 evens and an odd. That means in those cells there are 2 evens and an odd. Is that right? Hang on, have I just miscounted that? This one, there's 1 even here, so there's 2 evens here and an odd. So there are 2 evens here and an odd. I don't know if that's what I said or not, but there are 2 evens there and an odd. No, okay, now I'm getting stuck. Let us... Oh, I really am getting stuck. How do we get unstuck? What is it we're meant to look at? I refuse to look at this arrow on the basis that it's isolated on the right hand side of this grid and there is almost nothing going on. All the action is on the left hand side and in the middle. But I don't see how to use this arrow. Can we do more Sudoku on this somehow? Or oh, 1. No. Oh, that, look, this can't be a 1 by Sudoku. So that can't be a 7 by Sudoku. But that doesn't look to be. How can we get rid of? We need to get rid of a 7 from here or a 1 from here to know what this arrow is. Is there some reason this has to be a 7? I can see it can't be an 8 or a 9. We don't know its parity, do we? It can't be a 4 or a 3 because these two squares can't add up to the right number because the 1's not available. So that square there is 5, 6 or 7, I think. Oh, I actually know what those 3 squares are. Sorry, I hadn't realised that. Yeah, because I've got the 9 here and the 1 here. So those are 3 odd numbers that are not 1 and 9. That's a 3, 5, 7 triple. So this square we know is a 3, 5 or a 7 from the work we did earlier. Oh, right, we've done it. Well, we've done it. I've done it very slowly, but I have done it. Where do those 3 cells go in this box? And the answer is they have to go, or 2 of them have to go in these squares, don't they? And I can't now put 7 onto this arrow because this square can't be higher than 7. So that has to be... Oh, no, I'm getting confused. No, so the 7 has to be in one of those 2 squares. Okay, I was thinking I would actually know what's on this arrow, but I don't think I do. But what I can say for sure is that because you can't put 7 in the dominoes, 7 is vertical here, and that does get rid of the 7 in that cell. So that does make this a 3, 5 pair. And that means we can get rid of 1, 7 there and 1, 7 there just by colouring. That means this is 1, 7. What's that doing? It's locking 1 off this arrow now. We can't have 1 on this arrow anymore. Oh, and that's enough. Right, that is enough. Now I've got my 3, 5, 7 triple up here. Yeah, this square is really restricted. Yeah, this was the thing I've missed in this puzzle. Once you realise this is 3, 5, 7, that square now cannot be... well, we know it's got to add up to at least 5 because these 2 squares here, neither of them can be a 1. So the minimum we could put onto the arrow would be a 2, 3 pair. So this has to be 5 or higher, but it can't be 5, 7, 8 or 9. So it is 6, and that must be a 2, 4 pair. And 2 and 4 are both even. Oh look, yeah, now we know there's an even on this somewhere. So that's all of the evens for the column. So those 2 have got to be odd. This square's a naked single. It sees 2, 4 and 8 and it's even. So that's a 6. So 8 must be on... Oh no, we can place 8 by Sudoku. My new mic position probably allowed me to get that when I wouldn't have got it before. And now can we put 8 on the arrow? No, because that can't be a 9. So where does 8 go in box 2? It has to go in the circle. And that's even, therefore. So, oh, where does 6 go in this column now? That 6 means it's got to go here. So we've now got a 2, well, we've got 2, 4 and 6 down here, which means this arrow has got to be made up of odd numbers. It's adding up to an even number, but it can't use 2 even numbers. The 2 and the 6 are not available. So this, oh right, and it's not green. It's the same as this. because it can't be 3, 5, because that will rule this square out. So we do need to colour these. This and this and this are all the same digits. We shall, maybe with yellow. Will yellow work? It's not great, but I can see it's differentiated. So those squares are all 1s and 7s. And there's a 1 here, so we can do a bit better than that. We can go 1, 7. There's got to be a 1 in one of those 3 squares. You can't put a 1 in a circle. This arrow is forced now as well. It's another of these situations like the one we looked at down here, I think. What are we going to put in the circle? We can't put 9, 8, 6 or 7 in it, and it can't have a 1 on it, so it must be a 5 with a 2, 3 pair. 5 is odd, so that's not 5 anymore. 8's giving us the 8 and the 1 in box 1. 8 is even. Well, 1 and 9 are odd. I could have coloured in my 9 before, sorry about that. So those are a 2, 4, 6 triple. Let's put that in case it triggers anything. So 2 in row 1 has to go in one of those 3 squares. 2 is not even, is it? So one of 2 cells. Now this column, we've nearly done it. We need 3s, 5s and 9s into those cells. And 9 is in this domino because this is not 9. This square is... that square's odd now. It can't be a 6, look. So this is odd. Which means this is an even... Oh, that's odd as well, sorry. This is an even and an odd. So if this was 5, this would be 2, 3 again. Oh, I tell you what it is. It's 7, using this 7 here. 7 is being ruled out of that cell. So that's a 7. And this is not 1, 6 because the 1's not available. So it's either 2, 5 or 3, 4. And that's nearly useful. Oh, bobbins, don't know how to do that. What's this square? This square is 3 or 4. No, that square's 3 or 5. It can't be 9 because the 9's here. So we've got a 3, 5 pair. That's definitely odd. So oh no, it's not that good actually. I was hoping, for some reason I thought we had this digit, but of course we don't. So maybe we just have to do some Sudoku. Of all things, cane puzzles, you're going to make me do Sudoku in a Sudoku puzzle. This is mean of you. We've already looked at the 1. 6 is placed in box 4. It's got to go here. So 6 is moving down into one of those cells. 3, 5, 7. This square here is a 2 or a 4. And whatever it is ends up on the 7 arrow. And now we seem to be stuck. What about... No, hang on, we must know those 3 cells now. That's a 4, 6, 9 triple. So that's going to do, that gets us this digit. 2, 4, 2. So this is not 2 anymore, that's not 5. No, hang on, how do we resolve the final bits of this? I say final bits, I've probably got half the puzzle left to do, but I definitely feel we've broken the back of this whole middle left side shenanigan. Oh, I can't see how to do it. 9. Oh, something that's a little bit interesting. 9 is in this domino. And 9 is in this domino. So you can see actually we've got to put the 9 in one of those 3 cells in box 6. It can't go on the end of an arrow because this square can't be double digited. Oh, we've got the same thing. What I like about this is it's got 2 themes we've discovered. It's got the theme about the nature of short arrows and the fact that they have to have an even digit on, at least one. And it's got the theme of ruling out high digits from circles and ruling 1 out of the arrow. Look, what's this square? It doesn't seem to be able to be 9, 8, 7 or 6. So it has to be 5 because we can't put 1 on the arrow. So that's got to be a 2, 3 pair, and there's a 2 here. So we can do that. Rule 3 out of this square, rule 3 and therefore 4 out of this square. This is now a 7, 8 pair. That's got to be a 4, 5 or a 9. It's not a 5 because of the, whoopsie, it's not a 5 because of this triple. This is a 6, 9 pair, which means we now know that those squares are a 1, 4 pair. This 5 is ruling a 5 out of that cell. We still don't know which of these is the right, or which of these is 3, which of them is 5, and which of them is 9. And this square is a 2, 3, oh, it's a 2 or a 9 only, so it can't be 3. This 3 is doing some work in box 9. 5 is now in one of those 2 cells. 3 is in one of these 3 cells. 3, 5. Yeah, so this is a naked single because this digit here, it's odd and it can't be 1, 5 or 9 or 3 apparently, so it must be a 7. And that gets me my 7 and my 8 in box 6. 7 is in one of 2 places in box 9. This square, no, the 7 is doing that digit as well. Before we get to that, that might be important. That's ruling 3 out of this cell. It's making that square can't be 9. So we've only got even digits left to place in row 1. And we can put 2s, 4s and 6s into this one. That's not 2. So the only place now for 2 in row 1 is exactly here, which means 2 is placeable in box 9. 2 is even, so we're going to blue it straight away. Oh, and that's a bit annoying. We can't place the 2 in box 7 though. Or at least I don't think we can. It would be very useful if we could. It's going to totally resolve everything. No, sorry, there's probably a way of doing this that I'm just not quite seeing. Okay, so let's look at something else. Where is the next easy win to be found? Maybe this box. We've got 1, 2, we need a 4 and a 9 into those cells. No, that's not resolved. Bad choice, Simon. Fail. At least I suppose I don't get blown up if I fail during this video, which I gather is what might happen later on. No, I'm struggling again, aren't I? What have we not done that we should have done? Can we... Or perhaps we haven't pencil marked as fully as we need to. This square here can't be a 6, look, because of this 6. So this has got 2 or 4 into this square. Oh, yeah, okay, well, that was an important thought, because where does the 2 go in column 2? It can't go here, so it can only go there. So that becomes a 4, 6 pair, and that resolves our 7 arrow. 5 and 2, and 9 and 4, and 3 here, therefore, and 5 and 9. And therefore this is a 3, that's a 3, that's a 5. Okay, that should be useful. 3 and 5 get resolved in box 8. The 4 does this digit, so we get the 2 here. These squares have got to be 1, 4 and 7, and the 4 is placed. Oh, and I can see that's interesting because I've now got a 1, 7 pair in this row, which means I can place 4 at the end of it. Now we can probably tidy up some even digits now, so let's do that. Put a load of blues in and a load of odds in. Those are both odd. 1 and 7 were odd last time I thought about it. 4 here resolves the 4 and the 9. That gets us some more colouring. And those squares are... what are they? 1, 6 and 7. Okay. That's disappointing. 1, 6 and 7. This square can't be 7 because of the 7 here. Ah, 4 at the bottom means that square's a 6 and that square's a 4. I see, and this 6 then puts a 1 in the corner. But it also does the 1 and the 7 in the other corner, which does a 6, and a 9. That 1 and 7 is now done by this one, look. And we've still got to put 7s, 8s and 9s. So that's a 9 by Sudoku, that's a 7, that's an 8. Those two squares have got to be a 3 and a 9, which somehow is not resolved. Maybe this is what's resolved. This is a 1 or a 5. And it's not a 5, so that's become a 1 by elimination. 1 and 7 get placed, 7 and 5 get placed, 5 gets placed here, 1 and 4 get placed. This column needs an 8, which somehow is not resolved. The 2 and the 3 are resolved, the 3 and the 9 are resolved, the 9 and the 6 are resolved, the 6 and the 4 are resolved, which seems, so that's got to be a 4, and all that's left is to do the parity shading, and then hopefully we'll be able to click tick and we will be good to go. Let us see. Boom, and boom, and tick. Yay! Yay, very nice puzzle indeed. Cane puzzles, take a bow. That was exactly what I wanted today. Something that wasn't going to force me to put the cold towel around my head. But full of elegance and very beautiful logic. And I learned something. I learned something about a 2-cell arrow that I feel I should have known before but didn't. So a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments how you got on. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic and a live stream. Hopefully see you then.